Hey there. Welcome to a deep dive designed for you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, today we're going to get you up to speed with some skills for navigating this crazy modern world.
Sounds useful.
Yeah, so think digital literacy, work ethics, even presentation skills.
Huh.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
toolkit for adulting, but way more fun than folding laundry, I promise.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Now, our source material, fair warning, it's a bit academic. It's like chapters pulled from some kind of course material, maybe for IT students.
Interesting.
But don't worry, we're not going to bog you down with all that textbook jargon.
Okay, good.
Our mission is to unearth the golden nuggets that you can actually use in your daily life.
Love that.
So first up, let's talk organization and corporate culture.
Okay.
Now, I know this might not sound as exciting as, say, the latest tech gadget, but stick with me.
Okay.
This stuff is important no matter what field you're in.
Right.
Yeah, the source material kind of breaks it down into key components like vision, values, communication styles, how employees are rewarded.
Yeah. It's like the blueprint for a company's personality, right?
Yeah.
And just like with people, personality can make or break a relationship.
Oh, that's so true.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not just about ping pong tables and free snacks.
Okay,
It's
okay.
about finding a culture that jives with your values and work style.
And you know what's fascinating? A strong corporate culture. It doesn't just keep employees happy. It can actually impact a company's success.
Really?
Yeah, the source material mentions a study. Companies with well-defined values and strong communication, they actually outperform their competitors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense though, right? If everyone's on the same page, you're going to get a lot further.
Yeah.
But how do we actually, how do we use this? I'm not setting corporate culture at my job.
That's a good point, yeah. It's not about changing the entire company overnight. It's about understanding how to navigate the existing culture so you can thrive within it. For example, the source material, there's this activity. Students analyze corporate culture of different IT companies.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine applying that to your own workplace.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
What are the unspoken rules? How are decisions made? What are the key values driving behavior there?
Right. And once you understand those dynamics, you can start to navigate them a lot more effectively.
Yeah, like becoming like a cultural anthropologist
Exactly.
at your own work. Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room, tech skills.
Well, great, yeah.
I'm looking at this list in the source material and I'm like, I need to enroll in a coding boot camp, now.
It can feel overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. But the good news is you don't need to become a coding whiz overnight.
Okay, good.
Just focus on the skills that are most relevant to you.
Okay, that's reassuring. But are there any, universal tech skills that are, valuable, no matter what you do?
Absolutely. The source highlights a few that stand out.
Yeah.
First one, pretty obvious these days, computer proficiency.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing your way around a computer, as essential as reading and writing.
Yeah, for sure.
Internet research skills are also huge.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right. We're constantly bombarded with information online.
All the time.
So being able to filter through that noise, find credible information, evaluate sources, that's a superpower these days.
It's true. I feel like I'm constantly fact-checking everything. It's exhausting.
It is. And that's why media literacy is so important. It's about being able to critically analyze those media messages, understand the biases, and form your own informed opinions.
So it's not just about consuming information. It's about consuming it and being smart about it.
Exactly. And the source also mentions data analysis as a key skill for the future. It's no longer just about collecting data, it's about extracting meaningful insights from it to make better decisions.
Okay, data analysis. I'll admit that one sounds a little intimidating. What does that even look like in practice?
It can take many forms,
Yeah.
but the basic idea is to use tools and techniques to find patterns in the data. Could be as simple as creating charts and graphs in a spreadsheet program, or it could involve more sophisticated statistical analysis using specialized software.
So if I'm a marketer, I could use data analysis to track the effectiveness of my campaigns.
Exactly. You could figure out what's resonating with your target audience. Or if you're in sales, you could use data analysis to identify your top performing leads. Tailor your pitch accordingly. The applications are endless. And it's a skill that's in high demand across industries.
Okay, this is making me want to brush up on my spreadsheet skills. I can already see how being able to analyze data would give me a leg up.
And the good news is there are tons of resources available online to help you learn.
That's awesome.
You don't need to go back to school for a data science degree or anything. There are online courses, tutorials, even free software tools to get you started.
I love that. It's like this whole world of learning is at our fingertips if we know where to look.
Absolutely.
Speaking of learning new things, let's talk about digital, media, and technology literacy. To me, this sounds like just being a savvy citizen in this digital world we live in.
You hit the nail on the head. Understanding how to navigate that digital landscape safely, responsibly, effectively.
So, like not falling for phishing scams
Yes.
or sharing my personal information on shady websites.
Exactly. It's also about understanding how technology works, how it's shaping our world, and the potential implications for the future.
And that's where things can get a little overwhelming.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, like, I'm fascinated by AI, but also, like, low-key terrified.
Yeah.
How do we even, like, begin to wrap our heads around these complex technologies?
Right. And the source material, it encourages us to approach these technologies with a critical eye, to ask tough questions,
Okay.
to engage in those thoughtful discussions about the ethical implications.
So it's not about becoming a tech expert overnight. It's about cultivating, like, a curious and discerning mind.
Precisely. It's about being willing to learn, to question, to engage in dialogue with others who might have different perspectives.
I like that. It's about, like, shaping the future of technology rather than just passively accepting whatever comes our way.
I love that.
And speaking of shaping the future, this brings us to one of my favorite topics, innovation and social entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I love hearing stories about people who are like using their creativity, their ingenuity to make a positive impact on the world.
Yeah, me too. And this section of the source material highlights how technology can be a force for good.
I love that.
It defines social entrepreneurship as using business principles to address social or environmental issues.
Okay.
So it's like using your entrepreneurial spirit to make a difference.
Awesome. And IT plays a huge role in this, right?
Absolutely. And the source material gives some incredible examples. Kiva, it's a micro-lending platform. It connects lenders with low-income entrepreneurs all over the world. Right. Imagine being able to empower someone to start their own business, maybe lifting themselves and their family out of poverty, all through the power of technology.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. It's like connecting people and resources in a way that was never possible before. I'm already thinking about how I can get involved.
And it's not just about lending money. The source also features code.org. They're using technology to make computer science accessible to everyone, especially groups that are usually underrepresented.
That's awesome.
Imagine a world where everyone has the opportunity to learn to code, to create, to innovate, no matter their background. That's the power of social entrepreneurship, fueled by technology.
This is making me realize that we all have the potential to be change makers. We don't need to be billionaires or geniuses or
Right.
anything. Just a good idea, a passion for making a positive impact, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
Exactly.
Speaking of adapting, this brings us to, essential for anyone navigating this modern world.
Yes.
Etiquette, work ethics, and integrity in the digital age.
It's all about being a decent human being online, which, let's face it, can be surprisingly challenging sometimes.
Right. It's like the internet brings out the best and worst in people.
It does.
But the source material, it emphasizes that the same principles apply online as offline.
Absolutely. It's about treating others with respect, communicating effectively, maintaining a professional online presence. Think of it this way. Your digital footprint is becoming as important as your real-world reputation.
So, like, maybe think twice before I post that angry rant about my boss on social media, huh?
Probably a wise move.
Okay, good to know.
And it's not just about avoiding negative behavior. It's also about proactively cultivating a positive online presence.
Okay, how do we do that?
The source material suggests showcasing your skills, accomplishments on LinkedIn, engaging in thoughtful discussions, and using social media to connect with people in your field.
So it's like taking all those good qualities you have offline and translating them to the online world.
Exactly. And it can make a huge difference, especially career-wise. Recruiters are using social media more and more to screen candidates.
Oh, wow. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So be mindful of my online persona. Speaking of things that make me nervous, though, let's talk about presentation skills and public speaking.
Yes.
I'll admit this is one area where I still get butterflies.
You are not alone.
Oh, good.
But the good news is that presentation skills are learned. They're not innate. And the source material has some great guidance. It emphasizes knowing your audience,
Okay.
understanding their needs, interests, level of knowledge.
So like tailoring your message to the people you're talking to.
Precisely. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. The source suggests a framework called Position Action Benefit to develop a clear message. So you start by stating your position.
Okay.
Then you outline the actions you want your audience to take. And then you highlight the benefits they'll get by taking those actions.
That's a great framework.
Right.
Yeah. What about those of us who, get stage fright, though?
Well, the source material stresses practice.
Okay.
The more you rehearse, the more confident you'll feel. And don't forget about visuals.
Okay.
A well-designed slide deck can make all the difference in keeping your audience engaged.
I've definitely sat through some presentations where the slides were just walls of text. It's impossible to stay focused.
I hear you.
Hmm.
The source material, it suggests keeping slides simple, visually appealing, and using text sparingly.
Okay.
It's about supporting your message, not distracting from it. And remember, the most important visual is you.
Okay.
Your energy, your passion, your authenticity. Those are what will really captivate the audience.
Okay, that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Focus on connecting.
Even when you're nervous.
Yeah.
And remember, even the most seasoned presenters, they get nervous sometimes. It's about channeling that nervous energy into a dynamic presentation.
Okay. Deep breath. We're on to the final stretch of this first part of our deep dive, and it's a big one. Adaptation to new technology. I don't know about you, but keeping up with all the latest trends, it can feel like a full-time job.
It really can. But the source material breaks it down into, manageable steps. It emphasizes the importance of cultivating a growth mindset,
Okay.
believing that you can learn and grow from challenges, rather than seeing them as setbacks.
So, embracing the fact that I don't know everything.
Exactly. It's about being open to learning new things, even if it feels uncomfortable or challenging.
Okay.
The source also stresses the importance of lifelong learning. Technology is always evolving.
Yeah.
We need to be evolving too.
So it sounds like it's not just about learning the technical skills, but it's developing the ability to adapt and be flexible.
Spot on. And the source provides some strategies for that, for cultivating that adaptability. One that I like is to seek out opportunities to learn new things, even if they're outside your comfort zone.
So taking an online course on something I'm curious about, attending a workshop.
Exactly. It's about expanding your knowledge base, keeping your skills sharp, and also about being willing to experiment, try new things, even if you don't succeed right away.
Okay. This is making me realize that adaptability is not just about surviving in this digital world, it's about thriving.
Yes.
And the source material makes a great point. Adaptability is key in today's job market.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No matter your field, employers are looking for people who are quick learners, problem solvers, who can embrace new challenges.
So if you're looking to future-proof your career, adaptability is a must-have.
And speaking of tackling challenges, in our next part, we're going to dive into those tricky interpersonal and daily situations we all face.
Oh, yeah. From job interviews to dealing with that difficult colleague. We've all got them.
We've all been there. We're going to explore how the source materials framework can be applied to any challenging interaction, helping you navigate those situations with more confidence and grace.
That's a good one. Moving from those broader skills to ones more focused on, interacting with people.
This next section really stood out.
Okay.
Tackling those daily situations, everyday challenges we all face,
Yeah.
and doing it with, a little more intention.
Okay.
That's what the source material's about.
Can you give me an example?
What the source material considers a daily situation.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. Job interviews, dealing with a difficult colleague,
Right.
presentations, all these situations need a certain level of finesse,
Yeah, okay.
interpersonal skills, and even the small interactions can benefit from a bit of forethought. Strategy.
Wait, you're telling me I should be strategizing my coffee break chats?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But the point is being mindful of how you approach these interactions, big or small.
Okay, yeah.
The source breaks it down into a 4-step process.
Okay, I love a good framework.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
First step, planning. Before jumping into a situation, take a moment. Think about what you want to achieve, potential challenges, what skills you'll need to draw upon.
So if I'm going into a meeting with my boss to ask for a raise, I might plan out my talking points, anticipate any objections, and make sure I'm coming across confident and prepared.
Exactly. Next comes the carrying out phase. Put your plan into action.
Okay.
This is where all those communication skills we talked about, active listening, clear communication, nonverbal cues, all those come into play.
Plan, execute. What's next?
Feedback. This is where you reflect on how the interaction went. What worked well? What could you have done differently? Were you able to achieve your goal?
Oh, the post-game analysis. I'll admit, I'm not always great at this part. Sometimes I just want to forget about those awkward moments and move on.
I get it. But trust me, taking the time to analyze your interactions, even the brief ones, can be really valuable for growth. And that leads us to the final step, reflection.
So taking what I learned from the feedback and applying those insights to future situations.
Exactly. The source emphasizes that this process, planning, carrying out, getting feedback, and reflecting, it's cyclical. It's not a one-time thing. It's something you incorporate into your daily life.
It's starting to sound less like a textbook and more like a life hack. I'm already thinking about how I can apply this to some of my own daily challenges.
That's the beauty of it, right? These principles, they're universal. Dealing with a tricky coworker, negotiating a raise, or just trying to have a better conversation with a friend. These steps can help you navigate those interactions with more confidence, more effectiveness.
Now that's a takeaway I can use, building on that theme of being a better human. This next section on industrial ethics and values really caught my eye. How does the source material approach this?
It really dives into those moral principles that should guide our actions, especially with technology.
Okay.
With great power comes great responsibility, right?
And the IT field is all about power these days.
Oh, absolutely.
AI, data privacy, cybersecurity. It's these technologies have the potential to shape the world.
And the source material doesn't shy away from that complexity. It provides a really thorough overview of the ethical landscape in IT,
Okay.
highlighting several key challenges.
Like what? I'm all ears.
Well, data privacy and security, huge.
Yeah.
We're generating more data than ever before. IT professionals, they have a responsibility to handle that data ethically and responsibly.
I'm constantly getting those emails about privacy policy updates. I usually just click agree without reading them. Should I be paying more attention?
It's definitely worth taking the time to understand how your data is being collected, used, protected. The source material also talks about algorithmic bias,
Okay.
which is fascinating and potentially very dangerous.
I've heard about this. It's the idea that algorithms, the ones used to make decisions about loans, hiring, even criminal justice, they can perpetuate those existing biases, even if they weren't intentionally programmed that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it highlights the responsibility of IT professionals to develop algorithms that are fair and unbiased.
It's like a whole other layer of ethical considerations that we need to be thinking about when developing and using technology.
Precisely. And it's not just about algorithms, it's about the entire life cycle of technology, from design and development to implementation and use.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. This is really making me think about the impact of my own work.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not directly involved in developing that cutting edge technology.
It's a good reminder that we all play a role in shaping the ethical landscape of this digital age.
Okay. And that's a perfect segue to our next topic, which is about adaptability.
Yeah.
But this time, it's not just about keeping up with technology. It's about adapting to those unexpected twists and turns that life throws our way.
Oh, for sure.
Life has certainly thrown me a few curveballs lately.
Me too.
What does the source material have to say about navigating those unexpected challenges?
This section really resonated with me. It emphasizes that adaptability is not just a skill, it's a mindset.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How do we cultivate this magical mindset of adaptability?
It starts with embracing that growth mindset,
Okay.
which we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Believing that you can learn and grow from challenges rather than seeing them as setbacks.
So instead of saying, I can't do this, I should be saying, I can't do this yet.
Exactly. It's about seeing those challenges as opportunities for growth, not as threats to your ego. And that shift in perspective, it can be so empowering.
Yeah, I like that. It takes the pressure off. But how does this apply to those big life changes that are totally out of our control, like a job loss, a health crisis?
That's where the other elements of adaptability come in. Resilience, flexibility, and a willingness to learn new things. The source material emphasizes having a support system,
Okay.
people you can rely on, emotional support, practical advice, maybe a good laugh when you need it.
Right, because sometimes life throws you a curveball and you just need someone to vent to
Absolutely.
or to help you figure out your next move.
And that's where those strong interpersonal skills can come in handy.
Yeah.
Communicating effectively, building relationships, navigating conflict, all essential skills for those life challenges.
So it's like a cycle.
It is.
The more you work on your interpersonal skills, the more adaptable you become.
Yeah.
And the better equipped you are to handle whatever life throws your way.
It's all interconnected.
This is making me feel more prepared for whatever the future holds.
Good.
But I'm also feeling a little overwhelmed by all this information.
Yeah.
Is there a cheat sheet?
For adaptability.
Yeah, top 3 things I can do to become more adaptable.
Sure. First and foremost, cultivate that growth mindset. Embrace those challenges as opportunities for learning, for growth.
Got it. Growth mindset. Check. What's next?
Second, build a strong support system.
Okay.
Surround yourself with people who believe in you, support you, and challenge you to be your best.
Support system. Check. And finally,
Be a lifelong learner. Embrace that learning never stops. Be open to acquiring new skills, knowledge, new perspectives throughout your life.
lifelong learning. Check. Okay, I'm feeling more adaptable already, but before we wrap up this section, I want to hear your personal take on adaptability. What's been your biggest challenge in terms of adapting to change, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, good question. I think my biggest challenge has been adapting to the ever-changing landscape of information.
Oh, yeah.
With the internet and social media, we're constantly bombarded with new ideas, opinions, facts, some of them true, some of them not.
Yeah.
Learning to filter that information, to evaluate sources, to form my own informed opinions has been a constant process.
I relate to that so much. It feels like we're living in the age of information overload.
It is.
How do you, stay grounded amidst all the noise?
For me, it's about being intentional about the information I consume.
Okay.
Try to curate my sources, focus on quality over quantity, be mindful of my own biases. And when I encounter information that challenges my worldview, I try to approach it with curiosity, an open mind,
Yeah.
rather than defensiveness.
That's such a valuable approach. It's about being an active participant in the learning process rather than just passively absorbing whatever comes your way.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that brings us to our next topic, which is all about becoming more active, more engaged in our learning. It's about shifting from a mindset of being taught to a mindset of seeking knowledge.
Love that.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. What's the secret to becoming a more active learner?
The source material doesn't offer any magic formulas,
Okay.
but it does highlight a few key principles.
Okay.
It starts with setting clear learning goals.
So instead of just aimlessly browsing the internet, I should have a specific question or topic in mind.
Exactly. Having that clear goal, it gives your learning direction, purpose, helps you stay focused, avoid getting sidetracked by those endless rabbit holes.
Okay, that makes sense. What if I don't even know where to start? How do I even figure out what I want to learn about?
That's where curiosity comes in. The source material emphasizes cultivating a curious mindset, being open to new ideas, asking questions, exploring those different perspectives.
So instead of just accepting things at face value, I should be asking why, how,
Yeah.
what if?
Curiosity, it's the fuel that drives learning.
Yeah.
It's what makes us want to dig deeper, to explore further, to understand the world. And it's a skill you can develop.
Oh, I like that. It's like training your brain to be more inquisitive and engaged with the world.
Exactly. The source material offers some practical tips.
Yeah.
One that I like is to expose yourself to new experiences, new ideas.
So travel to a new country, try a new cuisine, read a book on a topic I know nothing about.
All great examples.
Mhm.
Step outside your comfort zone. Expose yourself to things that challenge your assumptions. Expand your horizons.
Okay, I'm getting in the picture. But what about those times when I'm just not feeling motivated to learn, when I'd rather be binge watching Netflix than reading a textbook?
We've all been there. That's where it's helpful to connect your learning goals to your personal interests and your values.
Okay.
So if you're passionate about, say, environmental sustainability,
Yeah.
you might be more motivated to learn about renewable energy or sustainable agriculture.
Yeah.
When you're learning about something that genuinely interests you,
Yeah.
aligns with your values, it's much more likely to feel engaging,
Yeah.
rewarding, not like a chore.
Okay, this is making me realize that learning doesn't have to be confined to a classroom or a textbook. It can
yes.
happen anywhere, anytime, as long as we're curious, engaged, and intentional about it.
Exactly. And that brings us to our next topic, all about applying that active learning mindset to personal development.
Oh, personal development. I love a good self-improvement challenge. What does the source material have to say about this?
It emphasizes that personal development is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuously striving to become the best version of ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Okay, I'm on board with that, but where do I even begin? There are so many areas of my life I could work on.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It can feel overwhelming. The source recommends setting realistic goals, focusing on one or two areas at a time.
So instead of trying to overhaul my entire life overnight, I might start with, say, improving my time management skills
Yeah.
or developing a more positive mindset.
Exactly. Small, achievable goals, they're more likely to lead to success
Mm.
and to build momentum over time. The source also stresses self-awareness, taking the time to reflect on your strengths, weaknesses, values, goals.
Because you can't really improve yourself if you don't know what you need to work on.
Spot on. And that's where those feedback and reflection skills come in handy.
Okay, yeah. I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
We've got the pieces of communication skills, adaptability, active learning, now personal development, and they all connect to create this like bigger picture of personal growth.
I love that analogy. And just like with a puzzle, it's an ongoing process.
Mm.
You might complete one section, but there's always another challenge waiting around the corner.
Speaking of challenges, this next section really hit home for me.
Okay.
It's about developing leadership skills, which honestly isn't something I've ever thought of myself as needing.
I'm curious to hear why not. I think leadership skills are valuable for everyone, not just CEOs and politicians.
Well, I've always thought of leadership as like something that CEOs and politicians do,
Yeah.
very out there and not really relevant to my everyday life.
I understand that perspective,
Right.
but the source material presents a broader definition,
Okay.
one that emphasizes influence, collaboration, empowering others.
Okay, I'm listening. How can someone like me, who's not running a company or leading a team, develop leadership skills?
Well, think about it. Leadership's about inspiring and motivating others, communicating effectively, working towards a shared goal. Those are skills valuable in any context, whether you're leading a team at work, organizing a community event, or simply advocating for something you believe in.
So, like, if I'm passionate about animal welfare and I organize a fundraising event for the local animal shelter, I'm demonstrating leadership skills.
Absolutely. You're taking initiative, inspiring others to join your cause, making a difference. Leadership in action.
Okay. I'm starting to see things in a new light now. Maybe I do have some leadership potential after all. But where do I start?
The source material outlines several key qualities of effective leaders.
Okay.
One that stands out is integrity, being honest, ethical, trustworthy.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. People are more likely to follow someone they respect and trust.
Exactly. Another important quality is communication. Leaders need to articulate their vision clearly, listen to feedback, build consensus.
So, like, being a good communicator is something we talked about earlier.
Yes, communication skills are essential for effective leadership. And then there's the ability to inspire and motivate others.
Okay, this is where I get a little lost. I'm not exactly a charismatic rah-rah type of person. How can I inspire others if that's not my natural style?
Inspiration doesn't have to be loud or flashy. It can be quiet, subtle. It's about authenticity, passion, and a genuine belief in what you're doing.
So, like, leading by example.
Exactly. People are more likely to be inspired by someone who walks the talk, who lives their values, someone who's genuinely committed to making a difference.
Okay, that I can do. I may not be the most outgoing person, but I'm definitely passionate about the things I believe in.
And that passion, it's contagious. It has the power to inspire others, create a ripple effect.
This is making me realize that leadership isn't just about having a certain title or position. It's about having a certain mindset, a set of skills that can be applied in any area of life.
Absolutely. The source material emphasizes that leadership is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuously learning, growing, evolving as a leader.
So even the most experienced leaders are still learning and growing.
Of course, leadership is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about being willing to step outside your comfort zone, take risks, and learn from your mistakes.
And it's about empowering others to do the same, right?
Precisely.
Mm.
Effective leaders, they don't just tell people what to do. They create an environment where others can thrive, contribute their ideas, and develop their own leadership potential.
Yeah. This is making me think about some of the leaders I admire, people like Malala Yousafzai, Greta Thunberg, who are not afraid to, like, speak truth to power and inspire others to take
Such
action.
great examples, people who are leading by example, demonstrating courage, conviction, a deep commitment to their values.
Okay, I'm officially inspired to, like, step up my leadership game, even if it's just in small ways. But before we move on, I want to hear about your personal leadership journey. What's been your biggest leadership challenge and how did you overcome it?
That's a tough one. I think one of my biggest leadership challenges has been learning to delegate effectively.
Okay.
I have a tendency to want to do everything myself, and it can be hard to let go of control and trust others.
Oh, I feel that. I'm a bit of a control freak myself. How did you learn to delegate without losing your mind?
It's been a process. The key for me has been starting small, delegating tasks that are relatively low risk, gradually increasing the complexity as I gain confidence
Okay.
in my team's abilities.
So it's about building trust gradually, both in yourself and in the people you're leading.
Exactly. It's also about recognizing that delegating is not about abdicating responsibility.
Mm.
It's about empowering others to take ownership and contribute their skills and perspectives.
That's a great point. It's not about dumping tasks on people. It's about creating opportunities for them to grow and develop.
And when you delegate effectively, everyone benefits. The leader, the team, the organization.
Okay, this is making me feel more confident about my own leadership potential. Maybe I don't need to have all the answers or be the most charismatic person in the room. Maybe it's just about being willing to step up, empower others, and work towards a common goal.
Exactly. And speaking of common goals, our next topic takes us into the realm of teamwork, collaborating with others to achieve something greater than any one person could alone.
Ugh, teamwork. I have a love-hate relationship with this one. Sometimes it's magical, and sometimes it's like herding cats.
I think we've all been there. But the source material, it makes a compelling case for why teamwork is so essential in today's world.
Okay, sell me on the power of teamwork. Why is it so important?
Well, think about it. The challenges we face today, climate change, social injustice, technological advancements, they're all complex, multifaceted. They require diverse perspectives, skills, and approaches to solve. No one person can have all the answers. But a team of talented individuals working together, they can accomplish incredible things.
So it's about like leveraging each other's strengths and making up for each other's weaknesses.
Exactly. Teamwork allows us to pool our resources, share knowledge, and come up with those creative solutions that we might never have thought of on our own.
Okay, I'm starting to see the value here. But teamwork can also be disastrous. I've been on teams with conflict, lack of communication, people not pulling their weight. How do we avoid those teamwork pitfalls?
Great question. The source material, it offers some great guidance on building effective teams. It starts with clear communication.
Right, because if people aren't on the same page, the whole project can fall apart.
Exactly. Effective teams have those open, transparent communication channels where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas, concerns, feedback.
So no more passive-aggressive emails or side conversations that leave people feeling left out.
Ideally, no. It's about creating that culture of open and honest communication. And that leads to our next key ingredient, trust.
Trust. That magical ingredient that can be so hard to build and so easy to break.
I know, right? But the source material emphasizes that trust is essential. When team members trust each other, they're more likely to be open and honest, to share ideas freely, and to support each other through those challenges.
So how do we build that trust? Is there a secret formula?
I wish there was. There are definitely things we can do to foster it.
Okay.
The source material highlights the importance of clear roles and responsibilities. When everyone knows what's expected of them, it reduces confusion, frustration, and the potential for conflict.
That makes sense. It's like having a clear game plan so everyone knows their position, how to play.
Exactly. And then there's the importance of shared goals. When team members are united by a common purpose, they're more likely to work together effectively and support each other.
So it's not just about individual goals, it's about working towards something bigger than ourselves.
Precisely. And that shared purpose, it could be so motivating, inspiring.
Okay, this is making me want to join a team and like conquer the world. But I also know that conflict's inevitable in any team. How do we deal with conflict constructively?
That's a great question, and the source material addresses it directly.
Okay.
It emphasizes addressing conflict directly, respectfully,
Okay.
rather than avoiding it.
So no more passive-aggressive emails or sweeping things under the rug.
Ideally, no.
Okay.
It's about creating a safe space where team members can express their concerns, listen to each other's perspectives, and work towards a resolution that benefits everyone.
Okay, that sounds great in theory, but what about those times when people just have different opinions or approaches? How do you find common ground when it feels like there's a chasm between you?
That's where those active listening and communication skills are so crucial.
Yeah.
It's about being willing to hear the other person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it.
Okay.
And it's about finding ways to compromise and collaborate, even when it's hard.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where you're assertive about your own needs, but also respectful of the other person's.
Exactly. It's a skill, it takes practice, but the source material emphasizes that conflict, when handled well, can be a catalyst for growth and innovation.
Whoa, that's a mind shift. I usually think of conflict as something to be avoided at all costs, but you're saying it can actually be a positive force.
Absolutely. When people with different perspectives come together and engage in healthy debate, it can lead to new ideas, creative solutions, and a deeper understanding of the issues.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued by the potential of, like, constructive conflict, but I also want to acknowledge that not all conflict is good. There are times when it can be toxic, harmful. How do we deal with those situations?
I couldn't agree more. The source material addresses this too, highlighting the importance of recognizing and addressing toxic behavior within a team.
So, like, calling out bullying, harassment, discrimination.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture where everyone feels safe, respected, valued, and it's about having those clear policies and procedures in place to deal with that toxic behavior when it happens.
Oh, okay, this is making me realize that teamwork is not just about working together nicely. It's about creating a healthy, supportive environment where everyone can thrive.
Spot on. And it's about recognizing that teamwork, like leadership, is a journey. We're always learning, growing, evolving as team members.
So even if a team project doesn't go perfectly, there's always something to be learned.
Absolutely. And those lessons can help us become more effective collaborators in the future.
Okay, I'm feeling much more optimistic about teamwork now. But before we move on, I'm curious to hear about your experiences. What's been your biggest teamwork challenge? And how did you overcome it?
That's a tough one. One of my biggest challenges has been dealing with groupthink. That phenomenon where everyone in the group starts thinking the same way,
Oh, yeah.
and no one wants to rock the boat.
I've definitely experienced that. It's like everyone's nodding along, but no one's really thinking critically.
Exactly. And it can lead to bad decisions and missed opportunities.
So how do you combat groupthink?
I've learned a few tricks over the years.
Okay.
One is to actively encourage those dissenting opinions.
Okay.
Create a safe space where people feel comfortable expressing their doubts, challenging the ideas.
So like saying, hey, I know we're all leaning towards option A, but does anyone have any reservations? Alternative ideas they want to share?
Exactly. Another strategy is to bring in outside perspectives,
Okay.
people who aren't part of the core team,
Mm-hmm.
who can offer fresh insights, challenge those assumptions.
Okay. Those are great tips.
Right.
I'm definitely going to keep those in mind for my next team project.
And speaking of team projects, our next topic is project management, the art of planning, organizing, and executing projects effectively.
Okay. Project management. I have to admit, this one can feel a bit daunting. It's like there are a million moving parts, and it's easy to get overwhelmed.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Project management can definitely be complex, but the source material breaks it down into a manageable framework.
Okay, I'm all about frameworks.
Yeah.
Give me the highlights.
What are the key steps to managing a project effectively?
Yeah.
First and foremost, define your project scope.
Okay.
What are you trying to achieve? What are the deliverables? What are the boundaries of the project?
Right, because if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there.
Exactly. Once you have a clear scope, you need a project plan.
Okay.
This outlines the tasks, timelines, resources, and budget needed.
Okay. So this is where we get into the nitty-gritty details of, like, who's doing what, when, and with what resources.
Precisely. A good project plan is like a roadmap. It guides the team towards the finish line.
But what about those unexpected detours and roadblocks that inevitably pop up along the way? How do we deal with those?
That's where risk management comes in.
Okay.
It's about identifying potential risks, assessing their impact, and developing plans to mitigate those risks.
So like having a backup plan in case the lead developer gets sick or the budget gets cut.
Exactly. Risk management is all about being proactive, anticipating those challenges before they derail the project.
Okay, this is starting to make sense, but I'm also realizing that project management is not just about planning and organizing, it's about people too.
You got it. Project management is as much about managing people as it is about managing tasks. That's where those leadership and communication skills we talked about come in.
Right, because you need to motivate your team, resolve conflicts, keep everyone moving in the same direction.
Exactly. And that's where effective communication is key. Regular team meetings, progress reports, open feedback, all essential for keeping everyone on the same page and addressing any challenges that come up.
Okay. This is giving me a whole new appreciation for the complexity of project management. It's like a symphony.
Yeah.
You need all the instruments playing in harmony to create a beautiful piece of music.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. And just like a symphony, it takes a skilled conductor to lead the orchestra, make sure all the parts come together.
Yeah.
So even if I'm not a professional project manager, these principles can help me manage any project, big or small, whether it's planning a vacation, organizing a community event, or even just tackling a home renovation.
Absolutely. The principles are universal. They can be applied to any endeavor where you have a goal, tasks, and a timeline.
Okay, this is making me feel more empowered to take on those, like, big, scary projects I've been putting off.
Good.
But before we move on, I'm curious to hear about your experiences with project management. What's been your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
Hmm, that's a tough one. I think one of my biggest challenges has been learning to let go of perfectionism.
Oh, perfectionism, the bane of my existence.
I know, right?
It's so easy to get caught up in wanting every detail to be just right, but I can see how that could be paralyzing in a project management setting.
I know exactly what you mean. It's so easy to get caught up in wanting everything perfect. But I've learned that perfectionism can actually be a roadblock, especially in project management.
So how'd you learn to let go of that need for, like, everything to be just so?
It's definitely been a journey. The key for me has been shifting my focus from perfection to progress. Instead of striving for, like, flawlessness, I aim for excellence, doing my best work while acknowledging there's always room for improvement.
That's a great mindset shift. Takes the pressure off, lets you focus on learning and growing.
Exactly. And it allows for more creativity and innovation, too. When you're not afraid to make mistakes, you're more likely to take risks, try new things, come up with those out-of-the-box solutions.
This is making me see project management in a whole new light. Less like a rigid set of rules, more like a creative process, where I can experiment and learn.
That's exactly what it should be. Project management, like any skill, is about finding what works best for you and your team. Adapting.
So it's not about a one-size-fits-all formula. It's about being flexible, adaptable.
Precisely. And speaking of adapting to challenges, this brings us to our final topic for this deep dive. Navigating those ethical dilemmas we face in the digital age.
Okay, ethics. We touched on this earlier with, like, industrial ethics.
Right.
But I have a feeling this section goes even deeper. What kind of ethical dilemmas are we talking about here?
Well, think about it. Technology is evolving so fast, and with each new advancement, there's a whole new set of ethical considerations. AI, genetic engineering, data privacy, social media.
It's like we're living in a sci-fi novel. But these ethical implications, they're very real.
Absolutely. And the source material really drives this point home. There's no easy answer when it comes to these dilemmas. It's not about finding the right answer. It's about thinking it through, considering different perspectives, making the best decision you can with the information you have.
So it's not about following a set of rules. It's about, like, developing our own ethical compass.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to use it.
Exactly. And the source material offers some helpful frameworks for navigating these tricky situations. One I found useful is the ethics checklist.
Ooh, I love a good checklist.
Right.
Tell me more.
The ethics checklist encourages us to ask ourselves some questions when we're faced with an ethical dilemma.
Like, what kind of questions? I'm ready to put this checklist to the test.
Questions like, what are the potential consequences of my actions? Who will be affected by my decision? Am I treating everyone involved fairly and respectfully? Does this decision align with my own values?
Wow. Those are some thought-provoking questions. It's like a mini ethics course.
It's a great tool for taking a step back,
Yeah.
slowing down, really considering the ethical implications of the choices we're about to make.
Okay, this is making me realize that ethics isn't just some abstract concept. It's something we need to engage with in our daily lives, especially as our world becomes more digital.
Absolutely. And the source material emphasizes this is an ongoing process. We're always learning, evolving, refining our own personal ethical compass as we encounter new challenges.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about striving to be ethical and making amends when we, fall short.
Exactly. We're all human. We're going to make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from those mistakes and try to do better next time.
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive, from digital literacy and work ethics all the way to leadership, teamwork, project management, and ethics. It feels like we covered so much.
There's always more to learn, but I think we've given you a good foundation to build on.
And I hope this deep dive has inspired you to keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the topics that matter most to you.
Remember, knowledge is power, but only if you use it wisely.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more insightful explorations. Until then, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep striving to be the best version of yourself.
And remember, the world needs your unique talents and perspectives, so go out there and make a positive impact.